Hi and welcome back. Rather, I should say, thank you for joining me in my relaunch of my channel uploads. This is probably going to be the first in a long series of reviews that I do. The rules, in case you forgot, I only get 1 hour to play. I have 1 hour to gather all the information that I can on a game, take in absolutely everything I can about it, and then write what I like to call a quickie review. This review is not meant to give you a synopsis of the game. Instead, it gives you an insight into what it'll be like for your first experience of the game, at least the first hour of it. Once I'm done playing, I'll break down my experience into 5 different fields: gameplay, difficulty, soundtrack, graphics, and immersion. Hopefully, after seeing what I went through in only 1 hour, you'll either agree with my assessment or at least be informed as to what to expect. Let's get started with the game. I'll make it known now, I was gifted the game by an official content creator for the Fun Pimps, GG Grotesque. I will leave a link to his socials down in the description. There will also be a quick message from him later. Stay tuned. 7 Days Blood Moons is an early access game developed by iLLOGIKA and published by the Fun Pimps. Originally retailing for $19.99, has since been reduced to $9.99 because of some of the issues it has experienced. It currently has a mixed rating on Steam, and the game is expected to be in early access between 6 and 12 months, which, compared to its predecessor, or I would rather say inspiration, is practically the speed of light. Future Gibbo here. I've had to rewrite this review 3 times now. Things are changing so fast that I've had to adapt. This is the last time I'm going to be writing this review. Today is November 22nd of 2025. On first boot, I'm greeted by an announcement page with a logo for 7 Days Blood Moons, which has featured news and game news and updates, as well as a QR code for joining the official Discord. The music? Honestly, it's better than the original 7 Days to Die, which, if you've heard any of my rants, is my only real complaint about that game. I enjoy the cel-shaded quirkiness of the game. It adds a bit of whimsy to a game that I really think is almost needed to break up the tension of it being an asymmetrical combat game. I changed out what starting weapons I had and decided to go for a quick match to see how the gameplay is. This introduced me to my first real setback. I spent a very long time trying to get a match, so long so that the matchmaking was actually canceled by the server. I decided to wait a while before trying again. Once I was able to play, I ended up having to do some custom matches in order to get a grasp on how the game is played. I later found out that the matchmaking system was going under some maintenance, so only custom matches are able to be played at this time. The controls, easy to figure out. There isn't any need for hand holding. Learning some of the mechanics though, perhaps a tutorial mission would help, especially in building, where I did have to be taught by another player in order to be able to set up spikes and walls in preparation for night. The game is made up of 2 teams, the Survivors and the Zombie Master, or ZM for short. As a survivor, your goal is to survive 4 days and 4 nights of waves of zombies. And as the ZM, you're just meant to wipe out the last vestiges of humanity. Using the weapons we picked out earlier during the character customization, I found that I really like hatchet and axe. One good swing to the head and most zombies become corpses again. The ones that don't tend to be stunned long enough for you to run. I broke the time rule in this instance for one very good purpose. I wanted to be a ZM run as well. The reason for that is you don't actually experience the game until you've played both parts. And I'm glad I did that, because I will say this, Zombie Master is fun. It is like playing a totally different game. This game is like 2 games in one. I spent the entire time pushing everything that I had toward building destruction and focusing my zombies on single blocks so that it would be very easy to just take down buildings once the Blood Moon started. It actually worked out semi-well for my play. Now that we've gone over an hour by a little bit, I still say I'm going to stand by it because it was totally worth it for this review, since it actually still felt like 2 separate games. Gameplay, 3.5 out of 5 gems. The gameplay feels decent. While the controls aren't as intuitive as I've thought they might be, they aren't difficult to learn. Again, a tutorial of sorts may be in order for future builds of the game, so that the general gist of how to go about being a survivor can be learned. I did have the help of one of the content creators while making the video. After I had my character set up, the controls are easy, the concept is solid, the general goals are straightforward, you just survive. The only real complaints I have about the game were bugs encountered with push to talk and some hanging during swapping between hammer and a weapon. These are all known by the developers and are currently being fixed through hotfixes released almost daily. The response time has been stellar from what I'm witnessing. From the small community of playtesters I've had access to talk, and updates show it's being almost daily updated, unlike a certain quote-unquote bound heart game. Graphics, 4 gems. Adding cell shading to the zombies and scenery, I think it was a great idea. The only thing keeping this from being a solid 5 gems is the shading might need to be dialed back just a little bit for people with vision impairments. I found it difficult to see some things until I made monitor adjustments to use my IPS in order to see some things more clearly. I had to tilt my monitor quite a bit. The zombies do look more menacing, scarier, and when the eyes flash when the ZM takes control, it's kind of freaky at first. I have since learned to use that as my trigger pull. But during my play, I did not find an actual single issue with the graphics, only with my ability to see it. There was no artifacting, no model issues, no clipping issues, just high marks. Difficulty, 4.5 out of 5 gems. For the hour and some odd minutes I did play, it was perfectly difficult, plenty of challenge without overwhelming me. The only complaints I have, again, has to do with tutorials. The game is different enough from the source material that I think a training scenario would benefit the game a lot. Blood moons are brutal and get harder each night. Finding the hidden stash during blood moons it's a blast. If they randomize some of the drops a bit better, I honestly think it would add some freshness as well. Soundtrack, 1.5 out of 5 gems. In true 7 Days fashion, the soundtrack is not, it's not great. However, this soundtrack is a masterpiece in comparison to 7 Days to Die. I truly still have some PTSD over just how bad that original game soundtrack is. So much so that streamers and gamers alike will ask me what I think of it just to watch me crash out over it. Immersion, 2 gems. I'm not really going to count this too much against the game. It's difficult to get into when you're having to learn the mechanics by trial and error. Once I got the hang of it, I had a lot of fun. The having to stop to fix things like push to talk, Discord integration, move my monitors so I can see things, did take away from the immersion, but ultimately it wasn't the end of the world. I still had a lot of fun. So while I can't give it high marks, it's not the worst I've seen in this category. Overall score, 3.5 out of 5 gems. The game's not bad. Yes, it does have some issues, most of which are being addressed by the development team. The style of the game is not something I would really pick for myself, but giving it a proper shot, I still want to keep playing it. I didn't really find anything game-breaking. The asymmetry of the game feels fresh in comparison to Dead by Daylight or Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I believe this is a good fusion between horror survival and asymmetrical genres. While it's not a perfect union, it does capture something special. That if people will actually give it a chance and not compare it to its source material, it will actually be able to be accepted as the fact that it is a different game, set in the same world that I believe this game can actually make it. Thoughts. So, is 7 Days Blood Moons worth the $10 it cost to purchase the game? Honestly, I think it is. While I understand that they felt the need to reduce the cost in order to get people back, I don't think they should have reduced the price quite so much. Ultimately, it's not my decision. For $9.99, you're getting a steal. The game is constantly being worked on, and it feels like two separate games in one. Now we're going to address some controversy. The game has had several negative videos and reviews posted about it. These videos and reviews I've watched and read both before making this review and after. I just have a few points to address based on those videos, which a few of them are highly disingenuous. I'll just make sections for each. Number 1, 7 Days Blood Moons is nothing but an asset flip. This is one of the worst takes I've ever heard. It's bordering comedy. The Fun Pimps published the game. They're highly involved with the developers iLLOGIKA, and iLLOGIKA are using assets either licensed by the Fun Pimps or flat out designed by the Fun Pimps. They are not App Store assets that everyone has access to. There's no flipping going on. Anyone saying that it's just an asset flip has zero idea what they're talking about and should not be found as a credible source of material. 2. This game is nothing but a cash grab off of 7 Days to Die's popularity. It's a game that's in early access, from the world you know and love, with cosmetics that you must purchase in order to use. Microtransactions are nothing new, but the game is far from pay to win. You don't win because you have the gold pimp hat instead of the purple one. You win because you earn better guns, know where the drops are, etc. Spending money on cosmetics is purely optional and don't help with advancement. So again, anyone using this, not a credible source. 3. This should have been a mode for the base game. This is a base game. It takes place in that world, but it's not the same game. It is a different genre entirely. Different mechanics. It would have required a massive overhaul to put into the game, which makes more sense to make a totally separate game out of it, especially considering it's an entirely different team making it. People who think this would have been an easy insert have no idea how difficult it would have been to make the code without breaking the original 7 Days to Die. Not credible, acting again in bad faith. 4. The game is buggy, network issues, etc. Finally, some legitimate criticism. Yes, the game has bugs. Early access is basically a paid open beta. The point of it is to keep funding the game while the developers listen to feedback and improve the game until 1.0 can release. Which, again, it's between 6 and 12 months. Every bug found is one step closer to a better game. Report what you find, every report makes the game better. We actually found a bug last night while we were playing. And the bug was verified by the developers. It is currently being worked on and will be fixed in a coming patch. This is what you do to make a better game, especially if it's in public early access like this. 5. Nobody is playing it. What's the point? Another legitimate concern, one that I certainly hope changes, and I'm actually watching change in real time. This game has the potential to be amazing. If we can get the players, I know several content creators that play more that will be playing in the future. We just need people around here who understand that it is a separate game from 7 Days to Die and stop saying these oranges taste like apples. Since I'm really no expert here on the genre, I've asked for some assistance from a good and dear friend, and he wants to explain how asymmetrical games work and why this one is unique. Take it away, Gigi.
Hey, thanks, Gibu, for inviting me along on your nice little adventure journey thingy here, or video, or whatever it is. So, when we talk about asymmetrical horrors, we're talking about games where the players and the threat aren't equal. One side plays by one set of the rules, and the other side plays by another. Think Dead by Daylight or VHS, where one team hunts the other and survives, right? But 7 Days Blood Moons does something completely unique with that formula. Instead of one killer or one enemy type, the Blood Moon Horde is the antagonist. It's not just a creature. There are several creatures, controlled and placed by some unique systems. It allows zombie masters to learn defenses, test your weaknesses, and force you to evolve. Also, you're not just up against zombies, you're up against time. Every day-night cycle, the game flips from survival and preparation to chaos versus endurance. That's what makes 7 Days Blood Moon so special. The enemy doesn't chase you individually. It challenges your creativity, your planning, and your panic threshold. It's asymmetrical horror, not because you're being hunted by one monster, but by many. And your skills, perks, and abilities aren't the only thing keeping you alive. The environment itself can be destroyed and manipulated to help you battle the evil zombie master. Check this one out. It's a real dead ringer.
Well, that was interesting. A lot more involved than I'd actually pictured, even based on my watching others play the games. If you'd like to see more of Gigi, I'll leave his information in the description below. If you'd like to try out 7 Days Blood Moons for yourself, there will be a link to the Steam store page as well. Now, I hope that you found this video as fun as it was for me to make it. I really do enjoy making these videos, and the way you can support me is by leaving a like, dropping a comment, and please don't forget to subscribe. I hope that you have a wonderful day, because remember, it is always a great day to have a great day. Bye-bye for now.